How you doing? Welcome into another edition of Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Brett Deckert, as always, alongside my dear friend Kerry Crowley. Today, we'll be covering some Arizona State sports. Is that correct?
That sounds right to me.
All right, well, that includes the Sun Devil hockey team as they prepare to skate on the road against Minot State tonight.
We'll also talk ASU soccer and Sun Devil volleyball, two teams that made big impressions in the Pac-12 last weekend.
And our camera crew was out at ASU Basketball Media Day yesterday. We have the footage to prove it.
But we start with the scuffling ASU football team. The Sun Devils are coming off a 62-27 loss at the hands of the UCLA Bruins. The 62 points scored by the Gold and Powder Blue was the most points ever surrendered by ASU at Sun Devil Stadium. Led by quarterback Brett Hundley, UCLA racked up more than 500 yards of offense and broke countless tackles. At practice this week, ASU coach Todd Graham emphasized going back to the basics for Saturday's matchup with USC. So we spoke with linebackers DJ Calhoun and Layu Mokiola about how the Sun Devils would respond to their tackling issues and what they were doing to prepare for the Men of Troy.
You know, the game last week was a tough loss, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. We came back this week, preparing well, preparing on our tackling, just preparing for the film room, everything. So, just overall we had a great week, practice been explosive, high energy, everything, so it's been good.
Just took the corrections from that game and just moved on to what we got to do now this upcoming game and just better tackling and just focusing on what we got to do.
Well, that's what the defense is planning on doing for the USC game. And now I bring in WCSM beat reporter Jake Garcia to talk about the offense. Jake, the big storyline this week, Mike Bercovici making his second straight start. Taylor Kelly out with that foot injury yet again. So Mike Bercovici against UCLA had some really nice plays, especially in the first half, but he did leave a lot to be desired in the end.
Yeah, Bercovici played well, and we'll take a look at his stats right here. He had good counting numbers, 42 completions, 68 attempts, both school records. Those 68 attempts, second most in college football in the 2014 season. One thing that jumps out, though, and is a bit disconcerting for Coach Todd Graham were those 3 turnovers. He talked about it all week, and he always professes 100% ball security. So in that facet of the game, Bercovici struggled a bit. He'll have to improve in that area going forward.
Well, the knock on Bercovici, it feels like, has always been his ability to dissect coverages. And against UCLA, that was a big turning point in the game, those interceptions, that fumble. So you harken back to right at the end of the first half. Sun Devils trailing 20-17 inside the Bruins' 20-yard line, a chance to take the lead. 3rd and 13, the Sun Devils don't have any timeouts, and Bercovici throws a costly pick.
Yeah, and what UCLA does right here is they employ a cover 2 shell defense, which means the safeties split the deep part of the field into halves. Bercovici tries to split those 2 safeties, but Ishmael Adams is there to undercut the route. It's really easy to beat a cover 2 defense. The middle of the field opens up with holes as those safeties sometimes cheat over to cover the deep wide receivers. But in this instance, Ishmael Adams completely baits the inexperienced Bercovici into throwing that pick.
Now, theoretically, the Sun Devils actually have a tougher challenge this week against the USC Trojans. Such talented players at the back end of the secondary, and defensive coordinator Justin Wilcox disguises the coverage of the USC defense so well. He has players knowing their assignments. They're so sound and so physical at the line that it's going to be tough for Mike Bercovici to really get a true read on the defense when he comes up to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, one thing you talked about was how USC disguises their defense. And what this means, they're going to show man-to-man, one-on-one coverage at the line of scrimmage. And then right as the ball is snapped, they're going to check back into a zone coverage. And what this means is that the cornerbacks are going to be assigned to deep thirds of the fields. The safety will have the other one. We take a look right here. Suat Craven's pick 6 against Sean Mannion. That's only made possible by the fact that those linebackers have those short, flat out routes, completely jumps it, completely picks it off. For the Sun Devils, they love to run that type of play. Get the ball into the hands of DJ Foster with open field ahead, but Bercovici has never seen a defense this complex before, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it won't take him 68 attempts to turn the ball over 3 times like it was against UCLA.
Well, you showed a great example right there. We saw in the clip Suat Craven's lined up in man coverage against the slot receiver. Then he changes his responsibility to the short zone. So we'll see if Bercovici can recognize those things when the Sun Devils take on the Trojans this week. Jake, thanks so much for joining us. Now we send things over to Brett Deckert and Mauricio Casillas in the studio, who are here to talk about the Sun Devils soccer team.
Thank you, Kerry. I'm in our adjacent studio alongside Mauricio, of course, our play-by-play commentator for the Sun Devils soccer team. You'll be there tonight, but we're going to go back in time first. Last Friday, UCLA came to town and walked out with a 1-1 tie. What does that mean for the Sun Devil team? It's only a tie, but what did that say when UCLA is the #1 team in the country?
Well, really, Brett, it wasn't that ASU was able to escape with the tie, but rather it was that UCLA was expected to lose this game because Arizona State came out so strong and they were so powerful. And Arizona State had control of this game 60 minutes in, Brett. And it wasn't until then when UCLA started really to take over. But really, Brett, I've never seen anything like this where Arizona State ties and moves up 7 spots in the rankings. They go from 24 to 18, and that's been really impressive for Arizona State. They haven't been ranked since 2010, and really the biggest thing with that is that I see them now as my 3rd best team in the Pac-12, Brett. I see them just behind Stanford and UCLA.
No, you mentioned that jump in the rankings up from 24 to 18. It's almost unheard of. You don't see that with a team they tie and they get such a good response. But as we said, this is a team that they had a big win against Texas A&M. They're surprising a lot of voters this year, and finally that confidence is showing up that they might be for real this time around. All right, we're going to stop talking about the past and move to present day. Tonight you'll be calling the game. Oregon's coming to town. What can we expect?
Well, Oregon right now has a 5-3-1 record, Brett, and they're a team that's not to be taken lightly. At the same time, they're also unranked, so Arizona State has the upper edge at this point. But Coach Kevin Boyd really emphasizes that in Pac-12 play, you can't take any of these games lightly whatsoever. So Arizona State has got to be careful, especially for one player in particular, and that's Bree Pugh, the forward out of Oregon. She's one of these players that doesn't have staggering stats. She's got 27 shots and only 1 goal to show. But Brett, that doesn't show the whole details. Bree Pugh is one of those players that creates a lot of chances, and she's only started 7 games. So in 7 games, she's got 27 shots. To put that in perspective, Callie Farquharson has 37 shots in 9 started games, and Callie Farquharson, obviously the great goal scorer for Arizona State. So if Arizona State is able to control Bree Pugh, I think they have a really good shot of winning this game.
Yeah, well, she better have some good shots, but then still 27, that's a staggering number. You got to figure she's target eventually, and it's a pretty big one. Eventually, you got to shut her down because you never know when she's going to find the back of the net. All right, well, Mal will be there tonight against Oregon, 7 o'clock. You can watch that on Pac-12, Pac-12.com for the live broadcast. From Mauricio, we'll send it back to our adjacent studio for Kerry Crowley.
Thanks, guys. A new era is set to begin inside of Wells Fargo Arena this December. The post-Jahi Carson days officially started yesterday as the Arizona State basketball team held its preseason media day. While the Sun Devil star is making a name for himself down under, ASU is ready to embrace its new faces. Coach Herb Sendek has completely revamped his squad with newcomers from diverse backgrounds. The media was on hand at the Weather Up Practice Center for a meet and greet yesterday with a team featuring 4 new transfers and 2 high school recruits. There's no doubt ASU will need to grow together and learn together, and that's exactly what Coach Herb Sendek and senior Shaq McKissick will focus on when practices begin next week.
Right now, we're a group of individuals who are destined to become a team. But once again, the guys are good people. They have good chemistry. I think they genuinely like each other. And so all those kind of things really help.
It's fun. You know, I was a JUCO player last year, and to see them go through the same things I went through, I can see them sometimes losing their mind, but I just, pat them on the butt like, hey, I was worse than you last year. I had a whole lot more to learn than you. So, I mean, that part of it is fun, definitely.
I made it back. Well, it's an interesting basketball team this year, I think. A lot of young and new players, like we said, only 3 returners, but 3 returning seniors. But it's interesting given that, well, they could be better than people think. It's less a lot of question marks. But anyway, moving on. This week, I decided to kind of expand my horizons, and I got a new Twitter account. I haven't started tweeting yet.
Thank you.
I know. I've been off the Twitter sphere, but I think I need to be in. With that said, let's bring in, it's time for our Tweets of the Week segment. Jason Chesler, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing a lot better now that you're back on Twitter, Brett. We had no Brett Deckert, no Jahi Carson. He's not an ASU athlete anymore. What did we do at Tweets of the Week? Persevered. We beat on, boats against the current. Brilliant man said that. Now time for some equally brilliant things, just in 140 characters or less. They said it. We picked it. ASU Athletes Tweets of the Week. Let's get it rolling. Start things off with a new CSL game. Is this Willie Atwood or is this secretly Kerry Crowley? Getting Raising Cane's, going to bed early. Got to be up at 6:30 in the morning. Kerry, are you living a double life as an ASU basketball player? Answer me.
I wish I was a talented center with an NCAA scholarship, but unfortunately, Jason, I just eat Raising Cane's and wake up early.
Oh, Raising Cane's. I like it. I've had it twice in my entire life. I mean, I was amazed. I didn't even know what it was until about a year ago when I moved here. Still have only had it twice. I couldn't imagine taking that, having to wake up at 6:30. When I ate that, I was out for 13 hours at least.
No, you got to wake up at 6:30, eat the leftover Canes, get on with your day. That's how I live my life.
Hold the toast
Jason,
extra
you're living
slaw.
wrong.
That's a good question. Is Willie Atwood going extra slaw, extra toast, or neither? We'll find out next week. Moving on, tweet number 2. We throw it on there. This time it's DeAndre Lewis fishing for favorites. Guys, first of all, are you one of the 6 favorites from this?
No. Like I said, I just recreated my Twitter account, so no, I still don't use it that much. What is this, Facebook? Like for a to be honest, or
I saw a few egg pictures there, Brad. I thought one of them might be yours.
I do still have an egg. That's it. I do still have the egg.
He was unable to reel in those retweets, though. So
just for the record, I would send both of you guys the trophy emoji. You're both the real MVPs. Moving on, tweet number 3, and this one, I'll be honest with you, this one's for me and Brett Deckert. Yeah. Fez Khan, ASU hockey. Guys, what's autumn without something corporate? Kerry, it's time for you to flex your ignorance on early 2000s pop punk bands. Guys, I'm sorry, I can't be Fez Khan's punk rock princess, but you said it, Brett. He'll be your garage band king. It's a hashtag.
Absolutely. You messaged me about this before, like, hey, you want to talk about this? I was like, absolutely. I didn't know it was Fez Khan, though. That's awesome. Just ASU hockey. I love hockey. I love something corporate. Andrew McMahon, my man, Jack's Mannequin. I've been a big fan since I was a young little kid. I'm really impressed. Kerry, do you have any idea what we're talking about?
Something corporate, not on my radar. I've just been listening to the Front Bottoms lately.
Front Bottoms, you guys got to check them out.
There we have it. ASU hockey, you know, not just hitting people and listening to Tinder. They've got their pop punk down, too. Fun fact.
Absolutely.
Oh, gosh. It's so nice to have Jason back on the show with us every week.
And I like the Front Bottom shout out we just got.
A little history on that. Every time Brett and I take a car ride together, we live about 4 blocks from the school, but Brett insists on driving over here anyway. He's always playing the Front Bottoms.
Great band.
Well, anyway, moving on. Fresh off a 2-game sweep of Westchester, in which the Sun Devil hockey team outscored its opponents 23-0, ASU is facing a significant step up in competition this weekend. Coach Greg Power's squad is traveling up to Minot, North Dakota to take on ACHA nemesis Minot State. The Beaver hockey team has played ASU tough over the last few seasons, and the teams have traded the top spot in the rankings in each of the last 2 years. At this point, the Sun Devils seem firmly entrenched as the #1 team in the country, but there's no telling how ASU will respond to its first road test. Now to a team that already proved it could win a big road contest, that's the ASU volleyball team, which shocked the then #9 USC Trojans in Los Angeles last week. Our Brett Deckert and Zach Pockleb are here to talk more about a team on the upswing.
Thank you, Kerry. Back in our adjacent studio with the Dr. Zach Pockleb. He's not really a doctor. I just like to say that. We're going to go back in time. Kerry just mentioned it. But they beat USC last weekend. They went on the road to LA. It was the first time since 1995 that the Sun Devils were able to defeat the Trojans on the road. Tell me what that means for this team.
It was really a statement win for the Sun Devils. I mean, last season they didn't really have a win like this until the tail end of conference season against Oregon. But to beat USC on the road, second game of Pac-12 season, a lot of that had to do with the performance of outside hitter Macy Gardner. She was outstanding. Again, you can see there 57 kills. 27 of those kills came against USC, a career high 30 against Arizona. And not only that, she was efficient with it, hitting over 300. She had a big workload. She took care of that. She was productive with each swing, and it really came with an important win for ASU.
Well, I know you mentioned Macy Gardner a lot. You love the way she plays.
Fantastic player.
Someone else who loves the way she plays, obviously, is her coach, Jason Watson. We were at practice earlier this week. Here's what he had to say about his star.
This game is completely random, and you know, when you look at performances like Macy's, you've got to celebrate them because they're unique. To be able to do that in back-to-back road trips, and not only have as many kills as she does, but be as clean and as efficient as she was. Those are pretty special. You know, the randomness of human performance dictates that you're not going to always be that way.
Now, backing track again, back to USC. We don't want to take anything away from the Sun Devils. You know, it was a big win, obviously, in the early Pac-12 play, but USC has been struggling as of late. Tell me a little bit about it, of if we really want to take as much merit out of that win for the Sun Devils.
Well, yeah, USC has lost 5 of their last 6 matches, but 5 of those matches, or all 5 matches, came against ranked opponents, and they also lost to Florida and Wisconsin top 10 teams. So USC has the talent. They were very right to be picked second to finish in the Pac-12 in the preseason. They have the talent. They have Samantha Bricio, an All-American outside, but where they're struggling, they're lacking production from their opposite hitter, freshman of the year last year, Ebony Iwanabu. She's been struggling to play her way back into shape after a summer back injury. But again, ASU played fantastic on that Friday night. They played clean and efficient. They would have beat a lot of teams that night.
All right, well, moving into the present day, we want to stop living in the past once again and talk about what's going to happen this weekend, Friday and Sunday. The Sun Devils are going on the road, walking up the Pac-12 mountain, literally in Utah and Colorado. What's that going to be like this weekend?
Well, yeah, not a lot of teams like this road trip. It's a difficult road trip. I mean, the travel, the elevation, the environments, and then Colorado and Utah are quality teams. I mean, Coach Watson was very complimentary about Colorado's setters. They run a 6-2, and then Taylor Simpson is a very effective outside. And then Utah, very, very strong at the net blocking, and if ASU doesn't attack smart, they can get caught. But again, ASU is more consistent. They're more talented than both teams. They should come away with 2 easy wins.
Mr. Pocklib, excuse me, Dr. Pocklib, your wisdom never ceases to amaze me. For the doctor, we're going to send it back to the studio for my friend, Kerry Crowley.
I can always take a prescription from Dr. Pocklib. Thanks, guys. Big week around the ASU campus with plenty of sporting events taking place. While football and volleyball hit the road in Pac-12 play, let's take a look at the sporting events around campus this weekend. The schedule is loaded on Friday with swimming and diving hosting Wisconsin. That's taking place right now. And soccer and D2 hockey set to host games later tonight. All 3 of those games play later on this weekend, so plenty of chances to get out and see the Sun Devils in action. Don't forget, you can catch both of those Division II hockey games live on CronkiteSports.com this weekend. And as if watching sports isn't fun enough, we here at Cronkite Sports Live believe debating about sports is even better. That's why our Jason Chesler's back, and we've turned this desk into the proverbial water cooler. Jason, take it away.
Guys, I want to see things so far past the water cooler. We've actually taken things outside. I want to see you guys no holds barred with your ASU sporting knowledge, that is.
Let's go.
Question number 1. Hey, it's Halloween season. Let's get a little spooky for you. The spirits haunting the Sun Devil football team every year. It seems about time for their collapse. They lost last week. Still no Taylor Kelly this week at USC. Is ASU football doomed, guys?
I'll start this off. I say they are absolutely doomed, and here's why. If Mike Bercovici couldn't dissect the coverages against UCLA, no chance he does so against USC successfully. That means more turnovers for the Sun Devils. Todd Graham has always said that if you don't win the turnover battle, you don't win the game, and that's what's happening this week.
More turnovers than that? I don't believe so, but I mean, I'll with you that they're going to lose, but are they absolutely doomed? No. We saw what happened last night. Arizona takes down Oregon. Arizona is a good team, but in this conference, in any conference, I don't think any team's ever doomed. I believe they still have a good chance to be in this game. Bercovici did have signs of potential, excuse me. I give him a chance. They're not doomed.
Brett, I respect the optimism. It's Halloween season. I was thinking doom and gloom, but Brett, you make me happy. You make me happy because you're happy. Question number 2. This past week, the ASU baseball schedule for next year was released. So was the wrestling schedule. Fun fact, I care. Guys, I'm not asking what's the most important matchup on the baseball schedule. I'm not asking for the most difficult matchup. I'm asking you, what piques your interest? Brett, you go first.
All right, well, what piques my interest is what happens after 19 straight home games to start the season. The Sun Devils travel up to Salt Lake City. They don't even move past New Mexico the whole season, but we'll refrain from that for now and just focus on that when they go up to play Utah. It's going to be a tough matchup for them to win. They could lose all 3, but 2 out of 3 at least I see. It's tough to go on the road after 19 home games to start the year.
Look, breaking in a new stadium, Phoenix Muni, no reason not to get at least 19 home games to start the season off, right? My most intriguing matchup, the first one. The Oklahoma State Cowboys come to town, nationally ranked team, an opportunity to face one of the best pitchers in the country in Thomas Hatch. Sun Devils need to make a statement in Tracy Smith's first series.
Kerry, I like it. You're providing me with instant satisfaction from this one. First matchup, I don't have to wait. 1-1 because we're always tied after 2 in our Cronkite Sports debates. Look it up. Now question number 3, the classic tiebreaker. Brett, you're from back east. I cover the hockey team. We got to go hockey. You're traveling out to Minot State this weekend. Gentlemen, what are your predictions? Lead things off, Kerry.
Ooh, I'll start by saying this isn't your father's Minot State hockey team, and here's why. Goalie Wyatt Waslenchuk, well, he's not with the program anymore. He's been the stone wall that has prevented the Sun Devils from breaking through in the past few seasons. Granted, ASU won the national championship last season, but it's going to be even easier without Waslenchuk in the net this year.
All right, well, fun fact, my father never had a Minot State hockey team, just so you know. Anyway, yeah, I will give the nod that ASU can win one game here, but I will give them a loss. I said in our first show that, yeah, they would lose their opening game. I still think this team won't go as undefeated as they did last year, in the part of the season. I'm just messing this up now. I think they'll lose. They'll win one game, they'll lose one game.
Brett, I want to give you the sympathy point since you grew up with a father who didn't have a Minot State hockey team. But I'm sorry, I don't
missed
think
out on a
Kerry's
lot.
dad had a Minot State hockey team either.
He's pretty young.
He finished his answer, and Brett, the definition of insanity. You're picking ASU to lose twice in a row?
Yeah, I feel I just want to be right eventually. That's why. I was wrong then. I want to be right now. And
I'm worried about you, Brett.
yeah.
I'm giving the point to Kerry. Please.
I'm getting used to winning these debates quite
getting
frankly.
that a lot.
Reconsider
I'm
before
getting a
you
lot of
pick
worry.
ASU hockey to lose 2 games in a row again.
Can I take some time to gloat about this victory? Can we just not have another segment and let me rain down in just triumphant spirits?
This is usually when we do our top plays.
Yeah,
We're at the end of the show. So I believe it's now time for those, correct?
No, Brett, we cut those this week.
What?
Yeah, nothing happened in ASU sports, at least nothing worth showing.
I'm sorry.
He's Brett Deckert. I'm Kerry Crowley. An abrupt ending. Let's roll the credits.